Hello and welcome back to Hyperplay. Could it be that your fake or clone R36S is actually better than the real thing? Well, maybe, because very recently we got hold of a new R36S, or so we thought. Turned out to be a clone. Still, no need to email this chap in France, because we're actually very pleased with it. But is it actually better than a real R36S? Well, we're going to thoroughly put it to the test to ascertain definitively whether this beautiful clone is better than the real thing. Whipping it out of the bag, firstly greeted by this awesome colourway. A truly beautiful sky blue, our favourite colour in the spectrum indeed. Now, we know that the R36S has traditionally come in these colour variants. Red, white, black, orange and purple, but who's to say what new colour lines they might be introducing? That said, we did know there was always a chance this might be a fake, and so it transpired, but holding it, we were so impressed by how it felt in the hand. Certainly the hand feel was much more akin to an Ambernic style device, so the next level up for handhelds. And then we took out the SD card, and imagine our surprise when, yes, also like the Ambernic devices, this one comes with a branded SD card. So this is better than the genuine R36Ss, which come with no name SD cards. Kioxia is an offshoot of Toshiba, and whilst their SD cards might not be the best in the world, they're certainly a hell of a lot more reliable than the unbranded rubbish you get on a genuine R36S. So that is a feather in the cap of this clone. Firing it up, and you'll see the usual open source R36S splash. Let's give it a sniff, a good old sniff. The sniff test, yes, because the genuine R36Ss smell pretty foul, especially straight out of the box, that cheap Chinese factory aroma. And yes, Jaman 7344, I have tried cleaning my nose, and indeed, this fake R36S, this beautiful fake R36S, smelled absolutely fine, totally and utterly neutral, the way we like it. Let's fire it up and see if it can pass the famous Final Fantasy VI sound test. Now, we know that when you fire up a genuine R36S, it will play the opening to Final Fantasy VI with no stutters, and it'll be a nice, clear, crisp tune. On the fakes, then it will stutter and glitch, and then maybe settle down. But let's see whether this clone can actually hold a candle to a real R36S, or whether we will run into stutters and judders. Before testing the clone's Final Fantasy VI sound capability, let's listen in to our review of a genuine R36S and see what the real deal should sound like. A quick way to check whether the operating system is running well for 16-bit games is to listen in to the beginning of Final Fantasy III. If there are audio stutters or it jars, then you know you've got a dodgy build, but if it sounds good, you're golden. So let's listen in. Pitch perfect, and it looked fabulous too. Surely our beautiful blue fake R36S can't match that, can it? Can it? Flawless emulation of the Final Fantasy VI sound test. We were very, very impressed. Certainly as good as an original R36S. But what about Yoshi's Island? If we're truly going to test 16-bit emulation on our fake, then we have to give Yoshi's Island a try. And running very nicely and looking great on this screen, and we'll come onto the screen in a bit more detail. Now, we have heard that the fakes are not so good at the sound effects for when Yoshi grabs the coins in Yoshi's Island. So let's have a listen in here. Sounded tickety-boo to me, fantastic sound effects coming through crisp and clear. But it was while we were testing the sound effects here that we ran into our first problem with this clone, and that was the button latency. The lag was huge between us actually pressing the B button to jump and old Yosh doing his jumps, because you have to time it just right and get your float on as well. It's not just because we're completely inept at platform games. So here's what you need to do if you run into this issue as well, is go into your RetroArch settings, go down to synchronization, and we solved the issue by changing VSync swap interval from its default setting of 1 to auto. Then the screen will go a bit of a funky colour, but don't worry about that. Once you back out and into the game, it'll still look great, and crucially, your button presses will register in real time, or near as darn it. And here's the proof, a jump that proved impossible with serious lag has now become a breeze thanks to the newfound responsiveness. And this is one of the things we found, is that sometimes on this clone the default options were not perfectly configured in the way that they normally would be with an R36S. So a little bit of tinkering might be required with your clone. But once you do, adjust the settings, and we'll show you how, and we'll continue to do that, then you'll find that maybe your clone can run just as well as the real deal. Or even, whisper it, perhaps a little bit better, because here, feeling very emboldened at the performance of our fake R36S, we are going into the PSP menu and we are finding Street Fighter Alpha 3 Max. And now, yes, an R36S, a true, genuine, bona fide, honest-to-goodness R36S, can play a bit of PSP, but it's not always perfect. If our clone R36S can perform good smattering of PSP, then we know that we have got something really quite special on our hands. Has our beautiful blue and got what it takes to play a full round of Street Fighter Alpha 3 Max. Now, almost certainly we're going to get our ass handed to us because, as you know, we are turn-based JRPGers and fighty beat-em-ups, not really our forte. But look at this intro movie, absolutely speeding along. No problem at all here with performance so far, but intro screens are all well and good. It's gameplay that counts. Now, here's our first tip when you are about to play any PSP on any of these devices, is to go into the settings and have a look what they've put frame skipping at. If it is at 6, that is way too high. So again, very strange, curious option being chosen by the clone manufacturers there. Put frame skipping down at 1. And then you get back into the game. And I should say that all the menus open beautifully in all the emulators. Pressing your start and select together gets you in there. Sometimes pressing select and X, depending on which core you are using. But here we go, Street Fighter Alpha 3 Max. And it looks sensational on this screen. And it is a screen that we would say is on a par, or maybe even better than the R36S genuine models, because this reminded us, this screen, of that of the Battle XP G350, which we would say is the best in the budget category. The G350 probably about £10 or $15 more than your R36Ss, and a very nice bright crisp screen. But yeah, certainly this clone R36S does a fine stand-up job of producing beautiful colours, vibrant, nicely saturated, doesn't need any tinkering whatsoever. You can see here that it looks absolutely glorious. We're in the fight of our lives here, and yeah, Fei Long, is it? I can't remember, so long since I played any Street Fighter, is giving our Ryu a right old pounding. Apologies for the appalling camera work, I just got so into it and was really trying my best, but still couldn't pull off the victory. That said, we were able to pull off our Shoryukens and Hadoukens. I don't think I'd ever done a Shoryuken before. And we were using the left joystick for player movement, and very good and responsive it was too. Switch style, but for this price, it's what we expect. Does the job. PSP truly is a knockout on this fake R36S. Who would have thought it? Virtua Tennis on PSP also ran super smoothly with our settings. We could not believe it. Did a bit of Grand Theft Auto, Vice City Stories, and that was very nice too. Again, needs to be set at frame skipping 1, and you would still get a little bit of juddering and jarring there, but certainly playable considering the device and the price. In fact, we got totally immersed in this one too, further than we've ever got. Rode into a pine tree. Got some fisticuffs with this silly guy dressed in blue wearing a hat. Got wasted, always fun getting wasted. But now it's time for a real test for this clone's capabilities. The R36S, all of the best builds, they cannot play a flawless game of GoldenEye. If this can, then truly we have something incredible and special on our hands. Let's have a look. The spinning logo of Nintendo Glory safely navigated. My goodness, that Rareware badge looks absolutely sparkly, golden blue. And let's see if old Jimmy Bond can stride onto the screen all smooth and slick without stutter. Alas, no, so we didn't hold out much hope for the actual gameplay itself, but once we got into it, and yeah, quite a few stutters at first, we were tolerably surprised about the gunplay here, because despite our rubbish aim, we were able to quite happily go about our GoldenEye business. And none of this bothering with the sniper rifle. We want to get into the thick of the action and see whether our fake R36S can cope when the bullets are flying. And pleased to say it did. It might have run out of ammo on our Kalashnikov, but straight into the Walther PPK, dispatching Ruskies left, right and centre with consummate ease, even though this is not the kind of genre that is our forte. And yeah, both sticks playing very nicely indeed. Totally forgot actually we had a 4-year-old to look after. Don't report us to social services, eh? There's a good chap. Next stop on the N64 shop, our old friend Wave Race 64. Now, even on the genuine R36Ss, you would still get into some choppy waters here with some screen tearing and so on, but often the game would settle down for the first race. Can the clone match the real R36S and sail into smooth waters for 3 laps of glorious gameplay? Well, initial signs were good, and very pleased to find that we get the save state function that is built into the newer builds of R36S, because yeah, you can play N64 through RetroArch now on your R36S newer builds of ArcOS, and gloriously you can here. The benefit of that, you can tinker and tweak, but also you can save your state, which is fantastic. You never used to be able to do that with N64 games on the R36S on the first releases of ArcOS on the R36S. It used to be you had to play through the Rice standalone emulator, and that produced very smooth performance, but no save states. Here we've got RetroArch, but we do have that screen tearing, but don't worry, because that's common amongst other R36S, genuine R36S builds. What matters is, can we get our race on? Yes, we can. And zooming straight into the lead, and yeah, the left stick is the way to go, because the D-pad is stiff. Now, I know other people have complained about the genuine R36S D-pad being stiff. This one is super stiff. No doubt it'll loosen over time. You could also go and have a look at our D-pad fix video, which I am sure will also work on your clone if your clone has a stiffy D-pad. Not sure why I said stiffy there, but there you go. What isn't so exciting is that I've let my lead slip. Anyway, good, so you can see the draw distance. That's obviously why I did it. So we'll hunt down our competitor in front with no doubt some flawless riding. But it is playing incredibly nicely, and the blue screen of the water and the sky goes very nicely indeed with this beautiful teal blue, is it? We'll call it sky blue. Fake R36S. I mean, it is made very nicely indeed in terms of its shells and its hardware. The buttons feel very good. I haven't mentioned much about the buttons. We did have concerns when we were getting those lags playing Yoshi's Island, but that wasn't the button's fault. That was the settings within RetroArch, which can be changed as we showed you. And yeah, it's all playing very nicely indeed. Do recommend that left stick. But here is the D-pad fix video that we told you about. You can hunt for that on our feed if you want. Super simple 3-minute tutorial where you just need a Phillips head screwdriver and you can get into your unit and make your D-pad a little bit more responsive, a little bit softer. So if you've got a clone that's got a stiff D-pad, or your genuine R36S is a bit press resistant in the D-pad area, then yeah, by all means avail yourself of our video and you will be feeling like a champion too. Absolutely glorious round of Wave Race 64. I'll drink to that. PlayStation 1 emulation, well, if it can play Bloody Raw 2, it can bloody well play anything. And it plays Bloody Raw 2 like an absolute trooper. Another knockout on this fake R36S. And the hits keep on coming. Dreamcast, Crazy Taxi 2, surely not. Even the original R36S struggled with Dreamcast. But using the correct back right shoulder button, you can actually get around in Crazy Taxi 2. And it plays absolutely brilliantly as well. What witchcraft is this? Why can this clone play all these emulators and systems so well and often better than an original R36S? Surely it's got 2 RAM chips, because there's no way it could do all this if it only had a single RAM chip like so many of the other fakes do. On a transparent model, you look here. Yep, 2 RAM chips on that real one. But, of course, ours is not transparent. So the best way to go and check is to go into RetroArch, any RetroArch menu, and go into information, and if your memory has a big number around about 976 MB, then that's golden. You have the 1 gig, because each of those RAM tabs are worth half a gig. So yeah, 1 whole gig means 2 RAM chips mean good power, and that is why this clone, this beautiful blue high quality clone, can play so many games so well. And don't forget, there are 20,000 games on this bad boy. Admittedly, some of those will be clones of other games, but absolutely incredible value and performance. And whilst we would never recommend that you deliberately go and buy a clone, if you were going to buy a clone, make it this one. It's absolutely fantastic. We'll have a link in the description below, along with links to other stores which, in our experience and the experience of others, sell genuine R36Ss, but you can never be truly sure what you're going to get. All I know is this blue beauty is an absolute banger. 20,000 games, it's got all your Pokemon and your Marios too. If I had £1 for every time someone's asked me whether a console's got all the Pokemons and the Marios, I'd be able to afford 1 trillion R36Ss. Real or fake. But yeah, it's all there for you, and I have to say I've completely changed my opinion about the quality of clone R36Ss. And having previously decried all the clones as being potentially dangerous for untested batteries that might explode and so on, it's been long enough now to say that they must be safe, because we haven't heard of any exploding batteries. And the only time we had a screen fallout was from a genuine model of an R36S. So don't get hung up on whether or not you've got a real R36S. Sometimes the clones can be even better. I hope this video has been fun and enjoyable. If it has, please do hit that like button. And check out our R36 playlist in the description. We've got tons of awesome R36S videos in there. Just tap the playlist and you'll be away. Tons of helpful R36S hints and tips in there. And why not subscribe? Because we've got loads more content coming on the R36S and other budget handheld emulation consoles, including the soon-to-be released and soon-to-be legendary Mangmi Air X PS2 and GameCube for $75. Some PS2 and some GameCube. We'll be getting one as soon as it's released, and you'll not want to miss it. So please subscribe, and we'll see you again soon. Take care. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.